Next project, the radius bar. I'm gonna break this video into two parts. I've got the base done, which is what this will be about, how to construct a base and how to curve this plywood into the radius. Part two will be the top and the face frame bending on the inside, mainly because I don't know what to do with this top. I bought some boards and then some epoxy and was gonna make a river pour out of it. I'm not sure how I like it, so if you have any suggestions for it, leave it down in the comments, but let's get started. Starting from the ground up here, you need your radius. So I marked it on the floor, then I used some scrap lumber and got the depth that I would need to cut my 2x4 at for the relief cuts to make that radius. Got that same radius marked out on this makeshift workbench, clamp it all in place, and then I bring out my best arts and crafts skills and start using the old lady's hot glue gun and some pins to hold it into place once I release all these clamps. I tried another method of just cutting some chunks of 2x and then pocket hole screwing them together and getting my radius out of it, and it just wasn't as structurally sound as this. This ended up actually pretty solid. I'm sure I'll get some haters in the comments. Next, made a top to the toe kick out of some 3/4 inch ply. I used my radius measurement to make a jig out of some scrap MDF, placing the distance between the nail and my router bit at my radius. The router bit wasn't set to full depth, just giving you a guide. Then you trim the excess with the jigsaw and then flush trim it to the radius. Here you can see the base constructed, adding some cross members for support. Then adding the 3/4 inch plywood we just made to the top, making it one solid piece. Any worries about my structurally unsound hot glue gun and nails for the base went out the window once we fastened the top. It was pretty solid. Now onto all the elements you're going to see. Started out laying out the radius on a piece of 3/4 inch Baltic birch for the shelves. Laid it out this way because we could get the least amount of waste. We did have to do a lot more joining of the plywood to make the full radius of the bar. Same process as the toe kick, route, not going all the way through, then breaking out the jigsaw, then flush trimming. You can see it here. So let's go ahead and speed that process up. Once they were all cut, we used some biscuits and some wood glue to get all of our shelves joined together to get them long enough to make the full radius. These were awkward to clamp with the curve in them, so you can see me fastening some scrap pieces and then using a squeeze clamp to pull those joints real tight. Now to the front of the bar. I didn't get a video of this, I guess, but I joined some pieces of plywood, very similar to the way I joined the shelves together with some biscuits and some wood glue. Once it was all fastened together, flipped it over and used my makeshift straight edge and router to create a 3/4 inch groove for my plywood shelving to sit in. On to the time-consuming part, how to get this plywood to bend around this radius. So I tried it on scrap first. I ended up getting my depth right. It was leaving about 1 ply left, and then spacing my cuts about 1 3/8 apart. Like I said though, try this on a piece of scrap with the same plywood that you're going to be using for your face. Next was mounting the shelves into the face. There's something about rolling the shelves up into the face like a burrito that was pretty satisfying. We put some wood glue into the Dados slots and then put some pins in it to hold it in place till that glue set up. Slowly rolling it and pinning it as we go. This was definitely a 2-person project, though here in a second you can see us put some legs on there because apparently my physical ability isn't what it used to be. It's heavier than it looks, alright. One last push here and we got her all fastened up and ready to go on the base. On to fastening the base to the floor. This is an important stage in making sure your finished project ends up level. So you can see I have my laser level set up behind me, and then I'm using my tape measure to make sure I get the same reading all the way around and shimming in each of the places that I need to, and then tap conning through each of my 2x4s
to make sure it's fastened to the floor pretty solid. On to my fail. So you can see each of the ends, they have the plywood running all the way to the floor. Well, the base that I just fastened is against the wall. So this end is good, but the end against the wall is not going to work. So instead of pulling up my base, I decided to just cut off that end since you're not going to see it anyways. It's going to be against the wall. And there it is.